Okay, guys, it's that time of year again. Coming in a little late. Winter is hanging on and not letting go here in Michigan. So yeah, usually I'm out running the machine by now and not in the process of building one. But anyways, working on a new machine. Basically, I'll be reinventing the VersaFire into a brand new concept actually. I'm gonna keep the name just simply because it's marketable and it still fits the new design. This machine here I was working on last fall, and this is actually just going to be a charcoal gasifier with a new concept. Basically, it had a centralized combustion process that, normally we go from the outside inwards, where this one is actually centered and works its way outwards as far as the combustion process goes. And it worked as far as the concept goes, but it requires a lot of fuel, added fuel refinement, and so it's pretty much a fail. This could possibly work at a bigger scale, and then it would probably work, but because of its size and the center tube going through the core of the hopper, it has some flow issues. So you have to make the fuel really small, so you're going to end up with excess dust that you can't use, and small fines that you gotta basically screen out. So you're losing fuel that way, and then of course you're kind of busting this up in little tiny half-inch by half-inch pieces, right? So that's not going to work. So we want to be able to use larger pieces and less processing. So that's what we're going to do, is refine this so that we can do that. So, but it's also going to have a jet system to run regular wood. So it's going to be able to run both fuels. So it's going to be versatile, right? So the VersiFire. So it fits the name. The original concept of the gas storage system, that also did work, and actually ran an engine with it, but the complexity is too great for that to be a viable product. Plus there's some liability issues that go along with it that I'm just not capable of dealing with at my level here manufacturing. And that also goes with the automation side of that too. If I were to make that into, a viable product, I'd need an electronics company to step in and make a controller that's basically just bulletproof. There's just no way to do it at this level of manufacturing and my resources and code development and all that. It's just not something I'm going to be able to make and then give it to you, and then when it has problems, you need to be able to fix it yourself. You can't rely on me, right? So, and that's just not going to work, because it's not something I'm going to be able to help you fix over the phone. So totally scrapping that, and we're going to go back to simple, and that's what this is. Oh yeah, and this is going to be DIY friendly. So I mean, this isn't something that you have to buy from me. Any fabricator can, basically look at these parts, and they're going to know where to get them, and you're going to be able to build this yourself. And I'm going to build this into a very simple construction method. And so this is going to be somewhat of a new concept. And then with it being able to run both fuels, my kiln retort system that I developed last year also fits this gasifier, because this will make fuel for both. This will make wood fuel and charcoal, and so there's going to be a bit of a compromise here. So this is going to be a hybrid system. So this retort here is the basis for my concept. So this is kind of like prototype 1, right? So basically we got an outer barrel that acts as a shroud, you got your retort in the center. It's suspended with these tubes that go on each side, right? And then them are also air intakes for secondary combustion, all right? So those are suspended up. You got a firebox below. Yeah, you get it going, and then once the retort starts gasifying, the gases escape through the center vent tube. That directs the gases back down to the combustion box, and those gases are burnt, providing its own process heat. And when you get this going, this thing will start roaring, and it will produce its own gas for process, or its own fuel gas for process heat. So you're not wasting that gas. That gas is actually being used for the process. All right, so you basically fill this up with your what you're trying to convert to charcoal. You basically just put this lid on, and just gravity is plenty, and then the gases will vent out. All right, so this is the base, the base principle of the retort. But then later on, I added a second stage. So I'm gonna put you on pause, and we're gonna go look at the big one outside. All right, so this is my bigger, larger version, which I'm gonna scrap this year because it's just too big. I'm gonna build the one I just showed you. I'm gonna convert that into this concept here. So basically what this is it's basically what I just showed you, but it's stacked. So now we added a second vessel, and this is a kiln. This is the retort. So this is your retort stage, and then this is your kiln stage. And this is where you're gonna put your wood for fuel drying. So I got my wood in here, and then this here is our shroud. So it's just a drum with the bottom and top off of it, right? So that just sits on top of here and directs all of our heat along the top. So we dry our fuel, we vent that down to the bottom because we don't want a bunch of smoke, right? So we heat that up, and anything that's volatile will get burned off, and then we'll eliminate the smoke and steam. All right, so when this is done and you're putting seasoned wood in here, you got seasoned wood in here. This is going to be converted to charcoal, and that's going to be converted to engine grade wood fuel. Now, all right guys, so here's what I come up with. I went ahead and removed the original frame sets I had in here, and then welded in the 3-inch MPT union. So now the thing is heavy. Now this thing just kind of screws onto it, right? And then now on the ash, as we call it, the ash pot, what it is basically, isn't it? So I put some wheels on here, front stand, to make a mobile. So it's just like the CFX. I mean, and any gasifier really want to be able to move it. Otherwise it's not really all that practical to move. Yeah, I had to do quite a bit of rework. I had to weld the cap back on the bottom and suction the tank. Both those tanks are actually the same size, and I ended up cutting about 6 inches out. So like if you were to use propane tanks, I'd probably go with like a 30 gallon propane tank for the lower, and then go to a 40 or bigger on the hopper. So I guess with my jet, put back on here. So if my jets are in here, that's going to give me about that much hopper. So it's going to be a fairly small hopper, but it's not too bad. Like the Evolution series, I think them had a 20 20-inch long hopper. So here. Those ran roughly the 8750 Predator generator with a 420 cc. A 20-inch by 12 hopper ran roughly an hour and a half at most. Actually, that's being giving it some. It's being reserved is what I was looking for. So yeah, this is going to be like 16 inches. So it's not that much different. So it should have similar run times. The only issue I'm foreseeing is when running on wood gas, if you're running wood fuel, your exhaust gases are going to be pretty hot, and that may be too much for that coupling to be there. We may have to put a cooler on the back for running wood fuel. But for now, I'm going to keep it simple, and we'll just see. You know, you never you don't know until you try it first, right? But that's probably going to be the case, though. The gases will probably be a bit hot when we're running wood fuel. Charcoal, it depends. I've seen them run cold, and I've seen them run really hot. And I think that has to do with like if you overdo it with the water, they tend to run pretty hot for some reason. But I don't know. We'll see. But anyways, yeah, the next step is I'm gonna do something with the lid here. I really don't see any reason I need to use that big dome. I mean, this is really heavy. And really all I need to do is just cut a flat plate and do like I do with a CFX. Put the bottom plate to retain the rope seal and just put some hinges on it and then a spring-loaded latch and call it a day. And then, yeah, drill the holes, punch out the holes for the jet system, and then I need to create a manifold for the tubes to connect to, so that there's a central control, right? So I'm gonna have a 1-inch ball valve to supply the air to all 4 of those jets, and then we'll have the charcoal nozzle out front, and you'll control that with a ball valve. So you have two ball valves. When you're running in charcoal mode, you'll have the other jets completely turned off, and then when you're in wood fuel mode, then you're gonna run all the jets. You know, it'll be just like an invert gasifier. Then once I got that, then I'm going to do something with a grate. I haven't quite figured that out yet. But yeah, we got to create a skirt. So there's going to be another. There's going to be a skirt welded to the rim here with roughly 1 inch or maybe 2 inches gap between the wall for gas to come up through the exit port here. And then our grate will sit. I'm probably gonna CNC cut a plate that'll sandwich in between here with a hole in it, right? And then this small flange can sit inside of that ring, right? And then it can move. So I think I'm gonna do that. I just got to do that, right? So real simple design. Yeah, once I'm there, this thing will be done. Alright guys, so that's going to be in the next video. I'm going to wrap this one up, and we'll do another part 2, and then once we're done, hopefully it's warm enough, and we'll go take this thing outside, and we'll see if we can run the 47 or what is that generator. I got the little 212 generator out there, so I think it's the 4375. And that's a pretty good generator, and that's something else going to be coming up. I got a new charger for the EG4. The problem with the onboard charger is when you have the charger working, the inverter won't take from the batteries, so the batteries are completely isolated when it's in charge mode, and I don't want that. I want the generator to go into the charger, to the battery, and then batteries to the inverter. Because otherwise I'm limited by, because you know, some of the load is going into the charger, and then the rest of the load is being taken from the inverter, and I'm not getting my full power because I'm limited to what the generator can supply versus the battery. So I'm going to be changing that up, and then probably do like a review on the EG4 charge inverter, even though they're not paying me to do any of this stuff. So I'll give you an honest review on that. The thing is, though, the reason I'm buying it, because I got, you know, another part of it is because I'm going to be using a wood gasifier, and you know, if you're going to be doing wood gassing a small power generator, you know, batteries are pretty much a part of the system that you want to consider. Generators just don't work all that great direct power with running on wood gas, because the gasifiers aren't exactly stable. The CFX is one of the most stable machines I've ever produced, and even that machine has a hard time when you're doing, you know, crazy abrupt loads and stuff. It just works better with a constant load, and then you're not limited to the power of that generator running on wood gas versus, you know, you're using like an average, right? So, you know, when you need the big power, you got that stored in your batteries to provide that power output. Anyways, guys, I'm gonna cut this off. All right, we'll see you in the next one, guys.